What's up, everybody? I'm Thrall. For those of you who don't know, I own a gym in Sacramento, California called Untamed Strength. I've owned it for a few years now, and I'm with a very special guest today, Brian Alsruhe with Never Say Athletics, gym that he owns in Maryland. Where about in Maryland?
It is in Westminster, Maryland, so just northwest of Baltimore.
Nice. So this is going to be somewhat informal, kind of an untamed podcast. We're going to talk, a couple of business owners, a couple of gym owners are just going to talk about owning a gym and about opening your own gym and addressing some common questions that we get asked. So let's get to it. So Brian, the first question that I have for you is why did you decide to open your own gym?
Well, I had been doing another job involved with the government where I was out of town a lot, like for a decade. And I got sick of never being home, for missing Christmases, missing birthday parties, and when I decided to make the change in job, I realized that I didn't really want to work for anybody anymore. So I wanted to do my own business, and I thought about what am I passionate enough to actually do, you know, throw myself into, and I've always been involved in lifting weights, so I decided that I'd open my own gym. So
nice.
Basically it was more about like fulfilling a dream and starting my own business. You know what I mean? How about you, man? Why did you?
That was kind of the same reason. I've talked about it before. I was in the military and it was driving me crazy, the lifestyle of just being micromanaged and having to listen to people that I didn't respect very much. And when I was about to get out of the military, everyone seemed to feel the need to tell me, you know, this is what you need to do. This is where you should be headed right now. And I just couldn't stand being told what to do anymore. And so this was more of an adventure for me than it was, I just wanted a gym that I could lift in. And it was just a huge test to see if I had what it takes to be successful, and that was just in the form of owning my own gym. So that's kind of, you know, where it all came from. It was more of an adventure that I wanted to take, and it just so happened that I was passionate about lifting weights, and I wanted to help others do the same. So that's kind of where it all started.
I think also it's you think about your end goal, and I'm not really a materialistic guy. I'm not into like nice cars, super nice houses. Like that's not what I'm into. But I am into freedom.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like having the freedom to, if someone asks you to do something that you don't want to do, to be able to go, no, and walk away because my house is paid for, my car's paid for. And if you're working a job for somebody else, you're either making that person's dream come true, but it's not your own dream. You know what I mean? You're just helping them out. And no one ever gets that type of financial freedom of being able to just walk away from certain situations, typically working under somebody else.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm literally probably 80 decades away from actually being in that position, but I know that at least if I ever do get to that position, it's because I had the courage to actually try. Right. As opposed to taking the safe route and doing that. I've heard you talk about it before. I know you're in a similar position. Like you get to make what happens at the end of the day happen instead of letting the day happen to you, and that's awesome for anybody who owns any type of business.
Right, and it's looking at a lifestyle that was very appealing to me. Not just being in a gym all day. That's not what it was all about. It was more about being in control of my success, being in control of my, or being responsible for my failure, and being in charge of what was going to happen for my future. And that lifestyle was very appealing to me, and that's why I wanted to make it happen for myself. I saw a lot of other guys doing the same thing, and I just thought, you know, why not me? And I remember I used to watch old videos of individuals with their own training facility, and I always thought, like, how cool would that be? You know, I wish I could do that. And then I really made the decision, and I realized I can do that if I want.
Yeah.
So why not go make it happen? So when you first decided that you wanted to open your own gym, how did you decide, or how did you kind of paint the picture of what your gym was going to be? So how did you come up with the vision for your gym, or for how Never Say It works? Because it's very broad to say, I want to open my own gym. You know, so how did you, whether someone wants to start an Olympic lifting gym, a powerlifting gym, a boot camp gym, how did you kind of paint this picture of what you wanted your facility to look like, your day-to-day routine? So kind of how did that all come into play?
I wish that I could say that I laid out this really cool business plan and followed it, but I didn't. Like it was just kind of a jump and see if you could fly, more so. And I knew that I wanted to be involved in something different. And my original plan for the gym was to build something that didn't really exist, because it was what I wanted. It was my picture of, if I could belong to a gym, this is what I wanted to have, this equipment I want, this would be it, right? As it turns out, that's not what everybody wants. So that's why places like Planet Fitness are millionaires and I'm not. However, I did want to attract those like-minded people and try to bring them all under one roof. Like, we were training at Super Training yesterday, and you could see all those people had very similar goals, all doing the same thing, and they all trained together at the same time. So it was more of a team environment, and that's a lot of what I thought I wanted to build, was just a team of awesome people with like-minded goals that help push each other, that help do things. And then as far as my space, I had a picture of kind of opening a much larger spot than I have right now. Originally, that was my plan when I was dreaming about this. I was gonna have like this big open space that could handle all these people with all this special equipment, and we could have different sections of the gym. And then I started pricing things out, and as it turns out, stuff is expensive. So a lot of my choices in how things had to function came down to my actual income, how much money I could spend on starting this gym, and number two, the amount of time that I want to spend there. Because when you start out a gym, at least when I started out my gym, it wasn't really feasible to pay employees to cover the front desk or whatever. We don't have a front desk. So that means that whatever time we opened until whatever time we closed, that was my average work day, you know? So in order to kind of work around that, I decided to go with a class structure at certain times of the day, so that I didn't have to be there from the hours of 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. when the gym is the slowest, so that I didn't just have to be there for the one or two people that might come in over that spread of time. I know you've done a little different. We talked extensively about this, but what about you, man? Like, what was your big vision for?
So I learned a lot as I went. All I knew was I want to open a facility, I want to train people, but I didn't really know much past that. What I did know is that I wanted my own facility so that I could train people however I want, and any money or any revenue that I made was going to me only. I knew that I didn't want to go work in a commercial gym as a personal trainer, because I didn't want to train people within the means of the commercial gym. I didn't want 70% of my revenue from personal training going to the gym. So I just wanted to be in complete control. I didn't want to have to answer to anyone. If they said, hey, personal trainers here have to be clean shaven and cut hair, didn't want to have to deal with that. I wanted to grow a beard and a ponytail. I wanted to be in complete control. That meant that I had a lot of responsibility, but I was willing to do it. But when I opened the gym, I didn't know much past, I want a little bit of strongman equipment, I want barbells, and that's pretty much it. And honestly, because I didn't have this vision, at first, it was hard for me to find my target audience. So when I first opened up Untamed Strength, it was actually pretty pathetic. And looking back on it, if I was not the owner and I went in there, I'd probably say, this is not really what I'm looking for. This is not for me.
Not for me.
I couldn't make my dream gym at the time because financially I couldn't do it.
Absolutely.
And so what I had to do was I had to sell the gym myself. So really, everyone who came into the gym worked directly under me. So I would have to take them through a great workout, or I'd have to teach them some stuff that they would go, man, I've been lifting for a long time and I didn't even know this. Thank you. I'm going to come back. I'm going to sign up. So I was really the selling point to the entire gym. That's why I didn't have a basic membership where people could just come in and use the facility, because nobody would want to. So I really, again, had to sell the gym for myself, and I would do conditioning classes. I would do barbell strength training classes. As I went on from there, I realized, I said, what do I need to do to get people to realize there's a strongman gym in the area? Because that was really all that I had going for me, was strongman equipment. I couldn't be a weightlifting gym. I couldn't be a powerlifting gym. It wasn't a commercial gym. So I said I need to run with the strongman theme. And that's when I thought about hosting a competition. So I, pretty much just contacted NAS, got a competition sanctioned through them, hosted my first strongman competition there, and with the little bit of equipment that I had, and it kind of slowly started taking off from there. There were people who were coming in after the competition saying, I live down the street, and you've been open for a year and I had no idea there's a strongman gym here.
No idea.
So that was a good form of marketing, was competitions in the area. And that slowly kind of shaped into, I'm gonna run with a strongman theme. So this is gonna be a strongman gym. And that's kind of where it started to grow. And eventually there were guys who were coming in and using the gym for powerlifting reasons. So I started to cater it more towards them, and it just kind of slowly turned into a powerlifting and strongman gym.
Absolutely.
But at first, I didn't have much of a vision, but I knew that it was gonna be a process. And as I got more people into the gym, I was able to financially buy more equipment, grow to a bigger location, and make it kind of the gym that I had intended initially, the original vision for the gym. I was eventually able to do that.
I think that's really cool, because I'm a couple years behind you in this process. So I'm hoping to get to where you're at. Hopefully, see if that happens. But I think something, we're kind of making these videos for people who have an interest in opening their own gym, right, and they kind of want to know our process. And I think something that people need to realize is, when you have a vision for whatever it is, I think it is super important to stick to it. Stick to your vision. Don't let people really change it, or people tell you it's not going to work, or people think it's stupid. Here's the thing. If you're going to quit your full-time job to chase your dream, then make sure you're still chasing your dream. If someone tells you it's a stupid dream and you should change it, then you're still going to have the same exact regret that you would have had if you never quit your job and went for it in the first place. So you got to stick to your guns. However, realize that dream is going to be lived out in a much different fashion. So like you mentioned, a lot of people get involved in the gym business, and I know you put out that awesome video about this same topic, but a lot of people, when they get in the gym business, think, oh, it's gonna be awesome, I'm gonna be hanging out all the time, and all my buddies are gonna come lift weights and do all this stuff. But what you don't realize is that owning a gym isn't really so much about the gym. It's more about everything else that goes involved, and you wear so many different hats, from, you are the maintenance man, the cleaning guy, the membership guy, the personal trainer, the group fitness instructor. You're all those things. You're the motivator, you're the educator, you're the programmer, you
get to do the finances.
All the finances, all the web page, all of that is on you. Unless you have some ridiculous amount of money where you can start off paying people right off the bat to do all this stuff for you. And maybe you're in a different situation than either one of us were, but at the beginning, you work like a dog. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure when the time comes when you stop working like that, but it almost becomes it's just what you do. It's what life is. If you thought you worked a lot because you work 8 or 10-hour days, owning your own business, you work, your life is work. Yeah, that's what you do.
Business owners don't work 9 to 5s, they work 5 to 9s.
Yes.
So yeah, and it's never going to be, you're always going to want to get better or expand a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Or give a better quality product. So I'm busier now than I was 3 years ago.
Yep.
So as the gym grows, my duties grow, my to-do list grows, and I get busier and busier and busier. So it's just, new problems arise, and you just got to learn how to roll with the punches and take things as they come. So,
and you learn every single day.
Oh, yeah.
Like every single day has a new problem or a new challenge or a new something where you're like, when I first started business, even something like getting business cards or setting up the LLC or whatever, it seemed like a massive deal. And that was the one thing you did that day. You were like, well, I ordered business cards. Today was a success for the business.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And now the idea of all those little things, like you said, like as you grow, you get more and more responsibilities, more things, and the small stuff doesn't really matter anymore.
Yep.
Because it's just part of what you do. It seems like a big deal at first, but now it's not. You just roll. And every single day when like a crisis happens, very few real problems come
Right.
up. Like there's issues that you deal with and you're always going to be dealing with, but there's very few like problems that are big enough to really make you deviate
Right.
from whatever's going on, which is something at the beginning. If somebody gave you a bad review or did something unpositive, you're like, my life's over, I'm gonna lose all my business, it's gonna fall down. And now you're like, it's just that day. It's that part of the day. That's
Yep.
it.
And the biggest thing I would say is, like Brian said, you've just got to keep moving forward, keep doing something,
Yep.
and you're going to find out what sticks and what doesn't. You're going to make a lot of mistakes along the way, but you have to keep moving forward, and that's where my YouTube channel started. I had an empty gym, and I was like, all right, I've got 3 people signed up. They're coming in later tonight. How do I get more people? And I had exhausted other forms of marketing. I bought a bunch of postcards. I literally took 2 of my brothers. We got in the back of my truck. I drove around we had like 5,000 postcards. We drove around. They threw them on each driveway in the area, and I got probably 4 phone calls, and all of them were pissed off people that were mad for littering on their front yard. So it didn't do anything for me. I literally arts and crafts made, because I didn't have the money to buy these nice posters, I made posters, and I have pictures of them somewhere, and I would put them up on intersections, and they would stay up there until someone tore it down.
Yeah.
So I was literally trying my best to get the word out, and within the money that I had, I couldn't do anything else, and I said, I have a camera, I can make YouTube videos, I can post those for free, so I need to do something. Hopefully someone in this area watches a YouTube video and goes, that looks like a pretty cool gym, I'd like to come in. And then YouTube started to grow, and it grew much bigger than the gym itself. So anyways, this is my roundabout way of saying, you always have to move forward, you always have to keep doing something, and eventually things will kind of work themselves out. So
Absolutely. As long as you're moving forward. Just like squatting 1,000 pounds. Can't squat 1,000 pounds if you're not squatting 135, then 145, then 155, but always moving forward.
I've heard someone, a friend of mine, say, he used the analogy of a pendulum. The further you swing that pendulum in the uncomfortable zone, the further it's going to swing into the results or the success zone. And that's opening a gym or taking on a huge feat or a huge risk, a huge challenge is very daunting for a lot of people. They want to stay back here and ask a whole bunch of questions when really you've just got to get out there, get really uncomfortable, and learn for yourself. And I knew the way I thought about it was that, and I still think about this, is that I'm writing my story. So every story of anyone who's ever been successful, they had a lot of hardships they had to face. And they learned from each of those experiences. So it's no different than if I was to do some squats today and I was sore for the next couple of days. I said, you know what, this soreness sucks, but it's good for me. I'm getting stronger. And it's no different with business and life. You've just got to get uncomfortable, figure stuff out, don't stop, keep moving forward, and things will eventually work out for you. I go to 24-hour fitness, and I have to wait. It's so busy there. I have to wait like 20 minutes for a squat rack. And I was like, it like clicked. I was like,